do you recall that noise when she put on? This is pop, yeah, yeah, this is pop, yeah, yeah, this is pop.
Hey there, everybody. It's me, your buddy Dave, the host of the Dark Stuff channel here on YouTube. Thank you so much for checking out my latest video. As always, it's much appreciated. In this week's video, it's going to be a quick one. I'm going to be reviewing a recent show I saw last week from XTC. Now, don't get confused. I didn't see these guys, XTC. I did see one of these guys in XTC, but it's a new band called XTC with an E in front of it. Let's talk about it.
Saves from the ball and chain. Saves from the ball and chain. Saves from the ball and chain. Oh yeah. The diggers in the tower cranes. The diggers in the tower cranes.
Yeah, so it would have been cool if I could have told people that like XTC is back and they're touring and whatever, but I mean that wasn't the case. I did see the band XTC, which is EXTC, and it's the band from original XTC drummer Terry Chambers. It actually goes as XTC, Terry Chambers, and Friends. Unless you're in your probably mid to late 60s and you lived in the UK, you probably never got to see XTC live. No one I know who's been a fan of XTC has ever seen them live because they stopped performing in 1982. You know, of course, XTC, one of the greatest pop bands of the 80s, and, you know, albums like Skylarking, Rag and Bone Buffet, English Settlement. I got all these CDs. This one, let's see here, we got None Such, Oranges and Lemons. I mean, so many fantastic albums. I saw this show pop up on the calendar a while back, and I made a mental note. I put it in my little phone notes of shows I want to go to, because I was like, all right, XTC, Terry Chambers, and Friends, I don't really know what to expect, but I'm going to go regardless. Before I tell you who's in the band and all of that, let's talk about the opener for this show. It's an Omaha band called Minne Lussa. I've seen these guys before. They're a great band. I have said about them that they're a shoegaze band that plays generally kind of in the dark, and some of them dress up like cowboys. It's kind of a unique thing. This was a weird show because when I got there, they were positioned on the floor of the club, so like in front of where the stage is, and then the drummer had his drums, the drummer of Minne Lussa had his drums up on the stage along with XTC's gear, but everything else was down on the floor in front of the stage. Now, it didn't really affect much. They sounded great. They played great. It was a little awkward, of course, and, you know, I didn't want to get too close because I didn't want to interrupt, you know, hit any of their stuff or whatever, but I did think it was a really good show from Minne Lussa, and again, solid from these guys. I'll put their social media stuff below so you can look into them if you're interested in their music. Again, it's a kind of shoegaze, dream pop. They do play very much in the dark when they perform. I've seen them 3 times. It's been dark every time. And they do sometimes dress like cowboys. Okay, so as far as who's in XTC, it's Terry Chambers' band, right? He was the original drummer of XTC until 1982. He left the band in about 1982, 83 or so, once Andy Partridge, the frontman of XTC, stopped performing live. Now, he had developed an extreme stage fright. You know, if you watch the movie or the documentary This Is Pop that's on Showtime, he talks a lot about it, and it was basically he was a Valium addict since he was a kid, and he stopped taking it, went into withdrawal, and started having panic attacks, and just decided that performing live wasn't worth it for him anymore. And he decided, I'm done. For the rest of the band is no longer going to do live. We're just going to do studio. Now, Terry, being the drummer, Terry Chambers, had a couple of choices. Well, he could just accept that and be the drummer on the band and work a month or two a year when they would make a record, and then that would be pretty much it. Or he could, leave the band and do something else, and that's ultimately what he opted to do. He said he married an Australian woman, they had a child, and he moved down to Australia. And was actually there until, I think, 2017, it says on the website. He returned to the UK. But anyways, it's tough for a band at XTC's level. They didn't sell 1 billion records, and if you're not the songwriter and you're not credited as a writer, then you're not getting any publishing money. So you would only get mechanicals off of sales of your records, and they didn't sell a ton of records, so there wasn't a lot of money there. And a drummer would have gotten most of their money from touring, and now they're not touring. So I'm not saying it was just a financial decision, but it's also like, if you're a musician and you don't play, like, maybe you want to seek other opportunities. So that's when he severed his time from XTC. XTC went on for many, many, many years, and of course they had some of their most successful records in the States after that point. When you're talking Skylarking, Oranges and Lemons, None Such, their most popular records towards the end of the 80s. Terry wasn't actually on those records. He'd quit the band years before that. Let's talk about who's in XTC now, because it's a little bit confusing, okay, because it does say on their website that they were initially a 4-piece and then they became a 3-piece, and they decided to stay that way. But unfortunately, there were 4 guys on the stage at the show, so I'm not really sure. I mean, Terry Chambers was one. You had Steve Hampton, played lead vocals and guitar, and he had played previously with Joe Jackson, The Vapors, Dead Crow Road. A man named Terry Lyons, playing bass and vocals. He had been in the Rams, Dead Crow Road. He looked like he could have been in Squeeze. I thought he was a guy from Squeeze when I first saw him. But that leaves another guy who played keyboards and guitar and also did vocals. So I don't know who that guy was. I apologize. I'm sure they said it at the show, but I wasn't taking notes. And the website does say that it is a 3-piece band. So I don't know. You might want to update that. The guys were amazing musicians. I don't think Terry Chambers would pick up people who weren't, right? But just the joy of getting to hear these XTC songs performed in a live setting. Because as I said at the beginning of the video, none of us have ever seen XTC live. I mean, maybe I have some viewers over in the UK who saw them back in the late 70s, but for the most part, I don't think any of us have seen it. And getting to hear songs like, Ball and Chain, and This Is Pop, and Senses Working Overtime, Generals and Majors, Making Plans for Nigel, Life Begins at the Hop, all of those classic songs, performed live. It was just so great to hear it. Terry's drumming was fantastic. All the guys were great. One thing I didn't know what was going to happen is, would they be playing XTC songs that weren't from Terry's era? Like I said, he left in '82 after English Settlement. So that means he wasn't on, Skylarking or Oranges and Lemons or any of those records. The short answer to that question is yes, they did. They played, songs from later in their career. So you did hear songs like, Peter Pumpkinhead and those kinds of songs that were popular to XTC fans who listened to college radio in the late 80s and early 90s. So yeah, if you are an XTC fan and you've been like me, you've been listening to these records for 40 years and you just were like resigned yourself to thinking, well, I'm never going to hear this stuff performed live. And XTC isn't like a famous enough band, right? They're not Kiss or whatever, or Nirvana, where they're going to have tribute bands touring around. So again, you couldn't hear them in any other context but this. This is the way you're going to hear XTC live, unless for some reason Andy Partridge, in some miraculous turn of fate, just decides, you know what? I am going to go back to performing, and I'm going to get the original lineup. I'm going to get Dave Gregory back. I'm going to get Terry Chambers back. Maybe I'll even get that keyboard player from the very beginning. Maybe I'll even get him back, and we'll go out and we'll play live. But I mean, that's not going to happen. So your best bet is to be seeing XTC. So I'm going to leave you guys with another clip of the show. This was incredibly fun. If these guys are coming to your town, you want to absolutely go. Because when you start hearing like Senses Working Overtime and Generals and Majors, and just hearing it through concert volume, through speakers and what, I mean, It was just fucking great. XTC. Very, very good time. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Take care. Goodbye.
So